Deatschwerks. Today we're kicking off part 4 of the Deatschwerks fuel system upgrades on the 2004 Silverado. I'm running out of parts, so that means we're getting close to the end. So today we're going to be installing a set of Deatschwerks 1500cc injectors, a Deatschwerks fuel pressure regulator, and we're going to replumb the intake manifold. So stick around. Alright, so here's where we're going to get kicked off at here. Trailblazer SS intake, new body style intake. I don't exactly know which one is which or if there is any difference, but breadbox intake for all intents and purposes. I already have a set of aftermarket rails and lines and injectors on this intake. I'm going to pull the whole thing off, put it on the bench and work on it. It'll make things a whole lot easier. But as you can see, you know, I've got a fuel filter, a couple pressure monitors for fuel pressure that tie into my HP tuners, fuel pressure regulator, and there's where my lines have come through the chassis. This was from part 3, working kind of both of these videos at the same time. I didn't want to finish up part 3 till I got the intake built on part 4, so they're gonna have to work together on that. But anyway, I'm going to disconnect the battery, pull the alternator off, and get the intake manifold off, and we will start getting things tore apart, and we'll put in these new injectors, new fuel pressure regulator, and all new lines. So the intake is off the truck, and as you can see, this is just a typical stock GM truck intake. Old injectors, new fuel rail that's on there, old lines, things like that. Comes around here, fuel pressure regulator was sitting right there. Junction, 2 transducers for pressure, old fuel filter assembly. Anyway, but that is the gist of this thing. We're going to start taking it apart and fitting in these new injectors. Alright, so now we've got one side of the intake kind of opened up, got the lines off and everything. So basically all we have is just the rails holding down the injectors. So go ahead and pull these off. Granted, these are standard LS1 height injectors, EV1 connectors, Bosch style connectors, however you want to call them. And so I had to put some spacers here to get the injector height for the rail situated. So knock these up and out of place. Another one floating around here somewhere. See how much fuel just dumps all over the place. Alright. Rails are off. Old injectors. You want to come out of there, just come out. handful of slugs, we're going to need them. New Deatschwerks 1500cc injectors. I am kind of curious as to the height of these versus what was on there. So, pretty substantial height difference between the two of them. Now these do have an injector cap on the top for making them fit and whatnot. Let's see if I can get a better picture. So, they're pretty good distance, half-inch or so difference. So they come with new spacers, so I'm going to set these in and see kind of where this thing needs to be at for this rail. Ultimately, I'd like the rail to sit right down on the manifold with those spacers. So I'm going to pop off the these injector caps and see what I can do with them. Maybe I'll get lucky on this deal. Alright, so I've got the injector with its cap off. Unfortunately, it's the right height to run it without a spacer, but as you can see, there is no screen inside there. That goes straight to the injector system. Right here, there is a small screen in there. See if that focus out a little bit. But anyway, there's a small screen in there that comes through there. So unfortunately, as much as I wanted to do that, it is not going to work. So we are going to keep them as they are and begin putting them all back together. Deatschwerks does send lube for the O-rings. Spacers that they send are going to be just perfect. So no running to the hardware store to get little bushings to cobble up and make work. These are going to just slide right in place. And mind you, these are an aftermarket fuel rail that I purchased off eBay or something along those lines for a Trailblazer SS. At the moment of this video, Deatschwerks does not have anything made yet for fuel rails for the truck intakes. I know I've seen some people take some like LS1 style, maybe LS2 style, make them work. But anyway, I just happen to have these on the truck already, so we're going to run with them. So I may end up having to get some, nope, same bolts will work. I was kind of afraid I was going to have to get a shorter bolt, but this bolt cavity right here goes all the way through. So. Nice and snug and Boom, there you go. 4 brand new Deatschwerks 1500cc injectors installed. So we'll get the other side done and we'll start building up new fuel lines for this thing. Okay, so what we're going to do today is put together a line with this PTFE style fittings. Basically, you have 3 parts to these fittings. You have your main body, you have a olive, or I kind of consider them a ferrule, and then your nut. So, piece of line that we're going to try to put together here. This is going to be for the intake manifold. So, get your nut slid on, and then I need to go clean this out. Okay, got the liner cleaned out. So here you can see you have a plastic liner and then a braided outside core. So nuts in place. The ferrule, the end that goes onto the line, actually goes between the Teflon hose inside and the outer sheath. And what I do is just kind of get it started. And work it down. And you can look inside, you can see where the line touches the ferrule on the inside. That's how you know you got it deep enough. And then take your body, put it in your fittings style vise. Sometimes it works better just take it out of the vise and get it stabbed in place. And then it pushes in right there. So as you can see, we've got our ferrule, our body, here's our nut, back in the vise, and then it's just a matter of and boom, that is it. Just draw it up to where the nut and your body kind of sit in line. You don't have to grind them into each other. So anyway, but that is going to be the line that's going to be going on the intake manifold, which I have off on the bench because, like I said, I'm doing videos 4 and videos 3 kind of in conjunction with each other. So anyway, that is the rundown on how to put one of those together. So I changed up my injector connectors to the ones that Deatschwerks sent. The ones I took off, they were kind of a chintzy little variant that I did. The wires didn't really fit real well, so I was like, you know what, I got them, let's go ahead and go. And the reason is I had one of them pull out, and I was like, I'm not going to fix this. So anyway, that's kind of what I did. There's the old ones right there. New ones are in place, kind of tucked down in there. It's kind of hard to see with all the rails and whatnot, but better connector, more solid wire, things like that. So we are just about to the last stretch of it. Hopefully we'll get this thing started soon. So we're wrapping up part 4 of the Deatschwerks fuel system upgrades on the Silverado. What we did here, we installed a new set of injectors, all new fuel lines, and I went ahead and installed the injector connectors into the factory harness that came with the fuel injection kit. Also installed the fuel pressure regulator, and I built a bracket for that to hold it in place. little bit tricky because everything I had laid out and ordered was based on the system I already had. However, some of the fittings have just a little bit different angling, a little bit longer necks, so the turns weren't exactly where I wanted them to be, so I had to adapt a few things. But all in all, I think it came out really good. We did use the PTFE style connectors, fuel line ends. Really liked how they turned out. They looked really good. So other than that, the intake manifold is back on. I actually went ahead and changed out the valley plate gasket and the O-rings on the DoD style block. I thought I was having some oil pressure issues, so I just wanted to eliminate that particular issue since the intake was off. So intake is back on. Fuel lines are all installed. I shot video 3 kind of in conjunction with this video because I needed to know where I needed to terminate the ends of the hose for part 3 when I ran the hose from the surge tank. So anyway, so you'll see kind of a lot of mix in between the two of these videos. Anyway, so the system, went ahead and primed up the system, which I'll give kind of a little bit deeper in-depth setup on that for video 5, which will be changing up the tune for the new injectors and whatnot. So anyway, primed up the system, no leaks on any of the fuel lines or anything like that, so which is awesome because that was my first attempt at really building these hoses. So nothing leaks, so I'm glad there. However, I do have 2 injectors that are leaking at the rail, so I'm not real sure what I'm going to do with that. I need to actually just pull the rail off and see if I nicked an O-ring or something like that, which I'll get that straightened out and figured out, and we'll go from there. But anyway, so fuel rail, fuel pressure regulator was installed, new fuel injectors, new fuel injector connectors, and put a gauge on it as well. Everything looks good. Everything's bolted into place. So hopefully pretty soon we're going to get this thing started up. Like I said, I got to take care of an injector leak, but other than that, this is something that's going to be a simple weekend job for you. Drop in a set of injectors. Like I said, this was a little bit more in depth because I built new lines and everything like that. So, this is an easy weekend project. It's not like putting in the surge tank. The surge tank is going to be a little bit more than a weekend project unless you are just hardcore thrashing at it. So, drop in injectors, easy. Take your old ones out, put your new ones in, change your tune, fire it up, and send it. So, anyway, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Give me a thumbs up. Leave some comments what you want to see, what you think about it. Hit the subscribe button, and I'd like to thank Deatschwerks again for supplying me some injectors and this fuel pressure regulator. Anyway, y'all guys have a good one. We'll catch you at the next upload.